You're listening to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick in association with Wexford Insurances. Challenge us at Wexford Insurances 0818 31 30 30.
Welcome back to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with me, Karl Fitzpatrick. I'm now joined in studio by Brendan Kavanagh, CEO of Olive Media. Good morning, Brendan, and thank you very much for joining me this morning.
Good morning, Karl, and thanks very much for having me in here.
Brendan, you might start by telling me a little bit about your own background, please.
Sure. My background is in the oil industry, focusing mainly on the downstream side, which is essentially service stations. So I worked with a company called Pump Services. I joined them in the early 80s, and I did a management buyout of that company along with my father and a couple of other guys. And basically we took that company from a small company to an international company. Both here and in the UK, mainly focused on what I call the tank-to-bank solution, everything in a service station, from the tank, pipework, pumps, all the way through to wet stock management systems and dry stock management systems. So that sort of led me to getting involved with some of the international companies like Schlumberger and Tokheim, some of the big names in the oil side on the upstream and the downstream side. So
following that, you set up Olive Safety. How did that come about?
So my time in the oil industry, pretty much through pain rather than virtue, I had to address the area of safety. As you can imagine, in the oil industry, safety is quite a high bar to jump over, and with companies, global companies, underwriting companies like Danks, North Veritas, DNV, ISO 9000, ISO 18001, compliance became a huge issue in that area pretty much since the Val days happened. And so I suppose if I'm honest, it was if you can't beat them, you have to join them. But over time, I grew passionate about safety and safety training, in the sense that it does contribute to the bottom line, and notwithstanding a moral issue in terms of, our obligations to the people who work for us and their obligations as well to the company. So,
born out of that in 2009, you set up Olive Media. How did that come about?
Well, Olive Safety delivered quite a wide range of training courses and consultancy to companies. And in doing that, we grew very quickly. I personally, during my time in the oil industry, got a little bit tired of sending people on a 3-hour course and a 3-hour lunch, and the inefficiencies associated with that. And also, I questioned for some time, what the retention rates were around training and classroom training and stuff. And I'm not knocking classroom training. It's very important that there's a human interface. But in terms of measurement, particularly around compliance training, I could see that it was probably, a little bit hit and miss in terms of what people actually got out of it. And with the advent of cloud technology, taking what Olive Safety did and still does to an online environment, or what I call taking training from classroom to a virtual classroom environment, it allowed us to be able to deliver sort of virtual reality training using sort of high definition video and graphics and a wide range of digital media. But it also allowed the learner to be able to be more relaxed in the learning environment. And also in terms of the assessment, it meant that on an individual basis, they could interact with the course and check their knowledge before they were heading towards an assessment. And I'm a big advocate of that, in the sense that there's much more measurement, there's much more retention, there's much more of a possibility to learn bite size. You can go backwards. You can't do that with a tutor. You can go backwards over the course. You can go, forward in the sense that you can revisit the course if you want to. So it's a much higher end of learning. And of course, I'm also a big advocate of blended learning. So there's a lot of courses, a lot of learning to be done whereby, the large part of the theory can be taken online. And it means that in terms of the human interface, people arrive, mindful of the subject matter and ready for their assessment, and the assessments can be shorter in time.
Let's say, for instance, for those business owners that would be listening to the show this morning that would have a compliance training requirement for their own staff, how does the process work with yourselves?
So essentially, we have a suite of compliance training courses, and we host those courses on what we call the Academy. And the Academy is pretty much a learning management system, but we make it very easy for people to take courses. So if, for example, I was taking a manual handling course and I worked for a large corporation, essentially I'd get a text or an email with a username and password and simply key it into a normal sort of website application, and that would take me through to the course, and I press play. And what it allows for is, as I say, a more comfortable way of learning. For the corporation itself, what it does is, it reduces the amount of time that it takes to organize people and ship them around. There's a big environmental impact here as well, that people can actually go online and take the course in the comfort of their own home or the office or whatever. An interesting statistic is that 10 online courses across 800 people, that to deliver these courses, this corporation insists that they're done every year, and they manage to achieve, a 50% saving in the cost of the training and an incredible 75% saving in downtime. So that's, in this era of recession and the effect on payroll, this is a very interesting space,
And what's your own strategy for growing this business over the coming years?
So in the last year, we've managed to prove the concept here in the UK and Ireland. And we have quite an enviable list of clients in lots of different spaces, in construction, in petroleum, in hospitality, insurance, and a growing wider scope all the time. But some of those clients operate on a global basis. So last year we tested the model to see does it travel, and we opened an office in Brisbane in Australia, and our focus was on hospitality and on the mining industry in Australia. And in a short period of 9 months, we now create content for a wide range of companies in the mining community, everything from company induction right through to compliance training. And this is a huge benefit. The areas are so vast in Australia. So for them to be able to manage the pre-induction and the ongoing training of staff is a very, very difficult task. So that, combined with the fact that we've created an app so that after the training is done, they can stay in contact on a daily basis and get video updates, have a slip, trips and fall day or a manual handling day or fire safety day. And also for the workers themselves, they can also feed back on near misses or risk assessments and all that sort of thing. And also in the hospitality industry, we partnered with a company in HACCP food safety training. Initially, they've quite a big relationship with the Sofitel Hotel Group, and so we brought them from classroom training as a partner to this virtual world, and their clients are growing by the day. Overall, in 9 months in Australia, we've trained in excess of 9,000 people. So we've tested the model now for Australia, and for this year, going forward, what we want to do is develop those relationships. We've started in Kathmandu, a production centre there. We've started a relationship in Dubai. We're in negotiations right now to open an operation with a very large international corporate in the States. So the future is bright for us. This space, is going to be 100 billion euros.
You're listening to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick in association with Wexford Insurances. Think Wexford Insurances for your business insurance.